Welcome to the Tiger Men's Lacrosse Report, the first postseason edition, as the Tigers will take on Hofstra in the first round of the CAA tournament on Thursday. Joining us, as always, the head coach, Sean Nadlin. Congratulations. 2 years in a row, undefeated in the CAA. You've got to go back to 2023 since the last time you lost a conference game in the regular season. Quite an accomplishment for your team.
Yeah, excited for the guys, especially this year with the non-conference schedule and working through some rough patches and kind of finding our groove here in conference, and excited for the the body of work to get us through the regular season, conference play, and into the playoffs.
Now, you beat Hofstra 9-7 on Saturday up in Hempstead. You turn around, you're going to play them again on Thursday at 4 o'clock at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Kind of an odd first half. You shut them out in the first quarter 3-0. Then they shut you out in the second quarter and have a 4-3 lead at halftime. Rory Jones scored 3 goals in the first half, but then you shut him down in the second half. Did you make some type of an adjustment there?
I think basically after his third goal in the quarter, in that second quarter, like you said, he had a hat trick there. I think I told Coach Grosser we just basically need to shut him off the rest of the game. I mean, he's a terrific player, proved that. 3 good goals, was getting shots off, getting hands free. So we wanted to really shift, a little bit more focus to him. We shut him off in man-ups and stuff, and it made it more difficult for him to get hands free, but it's still, they still had some good opportunities.
And even odder in the first half was your first 2 goals were scored by Sam Morin with the long pole, his first 2 goals of the season.
Yeah, no, it was neat, kind of broken play that Alex Roussel did a good job reading. We actually had less numbers than Hofstra did. It was a 5 advantage for Hofstra, 4 for us, but Rooster drew 2 guys and was able to kick it to Sam and had a nice one, and then just trailing the transition play in, got a good rebound. Sam's consistently been a decent offensive presence for us throughout his career here, and I was excited for him to get on the board for sure.
How many goals did you have in your career at Hopkins?
Collegiately?
Collegiately, yes.
Maybe 1. We'll see.
What do you mean maybe 1? You don't remember?
No, that was a long time ago, Spiro. Not quite as old as you, but a while ago.
All right. Now you got to play him again, 4 days later. What kind of adjustments do you make between Saturday and Thursday?
Well, you assess the game, right? Just having played these guys, what did we expect them to do? Did that match up with what they did? How did they adjust to kind of how we were playing it? So you kind of you make some minor tweaks here and there, seeing what they were doing. Full field wise, and then the ride and the clear, the face off. So you're really just kind of assessing it just like, they just played an opponent. So you got to look at it like, what were they doing? Obviously it was against us. Why was it successful? Why were we successful? And try to figure out like how we want to adjust, how we want to tweak things if we want to. Try to understand and predict what they might try to do as well with what they were able to do, within the flow of the game.
It's interesting. You had 2 overtime games in CAA play against Delaware and against Stony Brook. Neither of those teams made the tournament. So you're going to face Hofstra on Thursday. If you get the victory, then on Saturday you'll play either Fairfield or Drexel, 2 teams you beat by multiple goals. Kind of strange that your 2 quote-unquote toughest games were against teams that didn't make the tournament.
I mean, you've seen CAA games. They're all tough. It just so happened that those early games were 1-goal games, and we were able to get a little bit more breathing room in those other opponents. So Hofstra was a battle. We started strong, as you said. That second quarter got away from us. We kind of got back on track in the third quarter. Had a little momentum. Kai Lopez really got us kick-started after Hofstra made a 5-0 run on us with a fast break goal off the face-off, and got the ball rolling back in our favor. But it wasn't clean from our side. Definitely a few too many turnovers, some miscommunication defensively, some poor shot selection and placement offensively. So again, we know we still have a lot to work on preparing for the same opponent.
Mikey Weishauer averages about 10 shots a game. He only had 5 on the Saturday. Was that a function of him just being very careful and not taking a bad shot, or was it something that Hofstra was doing to him?
Hofstra was doing a good job paying attention to him, and again, I think sometimes our offense wasn't flowing as well as it has in the past. I think Ronan got a little too excited being back on the island, and I think he ended up having 12 shots, so maybe stole a few from Mikey that he would have had. But again, that was something that we took away, especially coming out of that second quarter. That we just weren't flowing, with the ball moving on the offensive end. So being able to identify that, and whether Mikey's getting his shots or not, we just need to play better offense.
How about it's human nature. Your team knew they were the number 1 seed. You practice hard, you get out there, but there had to be some sense of, yeah, we want to win this game, but in the scheme of things, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
We really didn't feel that. I know I didn't feel like I felt that at all from our guys. The preparation was sharp going into the game. The guys were energetic and focused. They're, the level of play. There was great competitiveness. Guys were working hard, hustling. Again, we weren't overly sharp from a skill standpoint for some of the game. But if it was in the back of our guys' heads, I didn't really feel it or experience it. I mean, the guys were pumped up to earn the win. They knew we had to battle for it, and it was exciting.
So the Tigers and the Pride will play 4 o'clock on Saturday at Johnny Unitas Stadium, followed immediately after by Fairfield and Drexel, and we hope everybody can come on out. Weather's supposed to be great, and I know a big crowd would help your cause.
Yeah, it's always great, playing at home. We always have, awesome fan support, alumni, parents, showing up, whether it be in the stands or on the track. It's awesome to host. I think for us, it's just a great way to showcase our department, being able to put together a first-class tournament and in great facilities, and to really showcase what Towson University and athletic department can do.
All right, Sean Nadlin, who does not remember how many goals he scored at Hopkins, 4 o'clock on Thursday. I'll have the call with Glenn Smith, who can name you every one of his 150-plus goals that he scored in his career. We'll have it for you on TowsonTigers.com. So for the head coach, Sean Nadlin, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Tiger Men's Lacrosse Report.